The Spurs take on the Blazers tonight. Let's preview that and then ask, what is up with Jeremy Sohan?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hope you're having a great day. And as always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. Be part of the Locked On Spurs family. We definitely appreciate it. And by the way, thank you everybody for making the Locked On Sports Podcast Network #1 in the nation. So congratulations to us. We thank y'all. What are we talking about today? We're going to preview tonight's game, Spurs-Blazers. The Spurs roadie continues. Should be a fun game tonight. Let's go to preview that. And then talk about the pretty much the meat of this show, which is Jeremy Sohan. We're going to put him in the spotlight today and ask, what's his deal? What's up? Why are some stats down? Why is he not cracking the rotation? We're going to be talking about that and more coming up with just a few seconds. But today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Go and download Game Time today. Get the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your purchase. Going to bring in our guest, everybody. Look who is back. I warned y'all yesterday. Yeah, look who's here. Mike Jimenez. Make sure to follow him on X at MJ Acquire Taste. He is a financial guy. In a while, he's going to tell you how you can get a hold of him and make some money. And by the way, he's also formerly with San Antonio Sports Star. Jimenez, thank you for joining us here on Locked On Spurs. By the way, because I probably won't see you tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, man. It's going to be a fantastic week.
Yes. And by the way, everybody else, happy Thanksgiving to y'all out there and watching and listening to us right now. I hope you have a good one tomorrow. Jimenez, but you're doing all right, though?
Oh, doing amazing, man. We have back-to-back Thanksgiving. Got today with my wife's family, and then tomorrow, Thursday, with my own family. So it's going to be 48 hours of straight eating and watching football going all the way into Friday and Saturday as well.
You might as well wear spandex shorts, or if you got some sweatpants, elastic pants, and because you could be eating a lot. Yeah, that's the one thing I like about the holidays, man. You just consume everything in sight.
And I weighed in today at my lowest of the year, so I'm trending in the right direction. So
and then you got this guy.
Yeah, I got to do something. I got to do a 5K both Wednesday and Thursday to make this happen. So yeah,
just do what I do. Just train like crazy throughout the entire year. And then when you get to this point, you can afford a few extra plates, and then burn it fast. But anyway, everybody, Jimenez, we thank y'all thank you, Jimenez, again for taking time out of your schedule for joining us here. Let's dive into it, Jimenez, before we get into perhaps one of your favorite topics, Jeremy Sohan. Gee, I wonder why I invited you to this show for to discuss Sohan and whatnot. But Spurs-Blazers tonight out in Portland. The Spurs road trip continues. Some housekeeping before we begin. The Blazers are 8-10. They're 9th in the West, and they are coming off let me get this for you, a win in Milwaukee, 113-103. And their last 3 games, they are 2-1. They're kind of coming in a little hot right now. And by the way, they're just coming off a 4-game losing skid as well. Your Spurs, lost a game in Phoenix. They are 11-5. And still top of the West. I mean, at the top, but you're definitely ranked ahead of Blazers. So they're hoping to come in with a little bit of, just try to get that L taste, that loss out of their mouth. So hopefully they can do that tonight. But Jimenez, this was a road trip that many had circled on their calendar as a true litmus test of the Spurs. They failed the exam in Phoenix. Portland should be a fun game, but I wouldn't count out the Blazers as an easy W. What do you think?
The Blazers are a very tricky team. They have athleticism around all the positions they have out there. They are in a transition period, much like the Spurs last year when Pop went down with his stroke, and then all of a sudden Mitch Johnson was the head coach, who was not the head coach when the season started, did not have the offseason. That's what Portland's going through right now because of the whole gambling aspect of it, all the investigation. Right. Chauncey Billups, no longer the head coach of Portland. Tiago Splitter, former Spur, now at the helm of the team.
Yep.
You look at at Portland, they've got some pretty decent players out there that we need to keep track of. First and foremost, Jeremy Grant, who had more than 30 points in that game against the Bucks. That's a big player the Spurs need to drop. Need to figure out how to stop, rather. But the other name is going to be somebody that we know near and dear to our heart, and that is City Sissoko, who's playing some big time minutes.
Hey, Sissoko.
Former Spurs, Sissoko, G League, Austin Spurs, City Sissoko is getting some starter minutes for the Portland Trailblazers right now. And is excelling. So it's going to be an interesting matchup tonight.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned Jeremy Grant as a possible headache for the Spurs, but it goes beyond that. Denny Avdia, he's averaging 25 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, and nearly 6 assists, 5.4. So he's doing it all for the Blazers. And then you got Shaedon Sharpe, 22.6 points per game, 5 rebounds, and you mentioned Grant. They got Holiday, they got Camara, they got Donovan Clingan, a big boy. It's a shame we're not going to see Wemby versus Clingan, 2 of the bigger dudes in the NBA. Nevertheless, you're right. You're right. It's definitely going to be not a rollover game for the Spurs. They're going to have to put up their A game versus the Blazers. Can't also forget, too, Blake Wesley, another reunion there. Former Spur coming in. The Spurs going in and seeing Blake as well. I look at this Blazers team, and you're right. They're athletic. They're young. They're hungry. They're not a team you can take lightly. Whew. Spurs are again down Wemby and Castle and Harper. Oof.
Yeah, the Blazers are favored to win this game. Vegas has this as a 2-point spread in favor of the Blazers. Vegas has this as a 239 over-under. That's a lot of points. They're expecting a big track meet tonight.
Yeah, you read my mind. That's where it's going to go. And thank you, Vegas. Yeah, I'm expecting an up-and-down game today. I don't think this game will be decided until maybe the 4th period. Yeah. I think if the Spurs are up 5 going into the 4th, doesn't matter. If the Blazers are up 8 going into the final frame, doesn't matter. I think this is going to be a great game. But the good news is for the Spurs, the Blazers are not taking care of the ball quite well in the last few games. Heading into tonight's game, 3 straight games where they have more turnovers than their opponent. Now, the Spurs are not doing themselves any favors, too. We saw that in the second half versus Phoenix, where they had 11 turnovers. So attention to detail, or as Mitch Johnson's been saying, discipline. Discipline. The Spurs definitely need to show a lot more discipline on the court as well. Now, the Blazers are getting the second chance opportunities. In the last 4 games, Jimenez, they're out offensive rebounding their opponents. Spurs got to do a good job on that board there. What else do you see as a key for tonight's game for the Spurs to get a win?
We need a lot out of De'Aaron Fox. I mean, I know he had 26 points against the Suns, but 14 of those points came from the free throw line. We need to get him to make buckets. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with going to the free throw line a lot. I mean, SGA makes a living doing that. But the Spurs really need to get more from him. And it's more of the being the facilitator type of thing, because in the last 3 games, Fox has only had a combined 15 assists. And we're going from a time when Stephon Castle, before the injury, had 4 games in a row with back-to-back assists, was facilitating the getting everybody their shots. And De'Aaron Fox has not been doing that. It was a very weird game, the last game against the Suns, because you had Point Sohan going off over there, handling the ball. You had David Jones Garcia getting some run after having a hot game over the weekend. It was an interesting lineup that was going on over there. I was not a very big fan of the lineups the Spurs had over there. But I think it all starts with De'Aaron Fox, and it also starts and ends with, can Devin Vassell be disciplined out there shooting? It's so bizarre. His stats are not far off from where they normally are. He's averaging 7 3-point attempts per game. He's averaging 36% from the field from 3. The problem is that it seems like his shot selection is just kind of wonky. It's all over the place, and I'm not a big fan of the shot selection that he's doing. Even though the clip is fine, the 36% is fine, it could be so much better if his shot selection is better. None of the stuff on transition anymore. I want to see him shoot, in rhythm, as opposed to trying to create the 3. Be in rhythm for the 3 is what I'm hoping out of Devin Vassell. Yeah,
look, ultimately, this is a game that the Spurs cannot just sit back and think, oh, we're the Spurs. We should be able to beat this Blazers team. No. Also, the Blazers, they got something on the line, too. It is a cup game for them, I believe. It's for the 2. So, basically, I think the way it breaks down, if the Blazers beat the Spurs tonight, they get to avoid one of the toughest groups in the next round. So, they get to avoid the power players like your Nuggets or your Warriors. They get to avoid all that. So, they're going to want to have an incentive to win and move on to a different section of the NBA Cup here. Also, if I'm looking at the Blazers side of things, I'm a Spurs fan. I'm watching the scoreboard because the Blazers overall this season are 5-2 when they're leading after the third period. So they definitely take care of business in the second half. And other little stats here, though. But if you're the Spurs, you want to go up big after one. At home, Jimenez, whenever the Blazers are down after the first period in their gym, they haven't won a game this year. They're 0-3.
Wow.
They're 0-3. So that in mind as well. But you mentioned Spurs and De'Aaron Fox. He's definitely producing. He is. He's definitely producing in the last few games. But it seems to me like I need to have him have one of those 30-point nights, one of those big games. Not to say, it's kind of tough because he is doing his job as filling in the offensive role without Wemby and Castle. So he's putting up 20-plus points. But is this a situation where it's just really guys have to step up? I mean, whether you're Vassell, whether you're Keldon, Sohan, we'll talk about that later. I just feel this is another game where you cannot rely just on Fox to carry you or even Harrison Barnes to carry you. We need contributions across the board. What do you think?
Yeah, contributions across the board. Everyone's got to pick up a little bit more weight than they normally do. That goes from Champagny to Keldon. David Jones-Garcia, if he gets his 12 to 15 minutes. Kelly Olynyk needs to produce more. But the problem that I have is that ever since Castle and Harper and Wemby went down, it seems as though, to me, even though he's getting the points, and he gets 26 points here, 24 points there, it doesn't seem like Fox is making anybody any better. Now, when he's out there with Harper and Castle, he seems to be a better ball facilitator. He it's like iron sharpens iron type of thing. There's no other iron next to him. The other stars are out. And it's one of those things where he's not the type of player that is going to get Champagny involved. It's going to get Barnes involved to the best of their abilities. He needs Castle out there. He needs Wemby out there to be the best player that he can be. That's not a knock on Fox. I'm not saying that Fox is not a great player because he is a former All-Star. But what I am saying is that without the star players around him, he's not as effective of a player as he normally is. And I want to see more out of him as a ball facilitator. I want to see him pass the ball out. I need to get 7-8 assists. I am more impressed with 18 points, 11 assists than I am with 26 points, 2 assists. And we need to have him be the ball facilitator because, man, I was getting heartburn watching Sohan dribble the ball up the court the other day. Just outright heartburn watching it. And David Jones-Garcia, I'd rather him be a scorer than someone to bring the ball up as well.
Yeah.
So Fox needs to take control of the offense and actually run the damn thing as opposed to play off ball.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to really nitpick with Fox because 24 points versus Golden State in a loss, 28 versus Sacramento, 26 versus Memphis, 26 versus Atlanta, 26 versus Phoenix, assists 9 versus Atlanta, 11 versus against Sacramento, his former team, 10 versus Golden State. He's shooting the last game 46%, 2 for 6 from the 3 line. But the problem I see is just the Spurs team right now doesn't have a true point guard, at least close to it. Fox can do it. He can definitely run the ball up. There's not a doubt about that, but he loves to play a little more off the ball. As a Band-Aid, Jimenez, even if Jordan McLaughlin was playing, not injured, that would have been a nice little stopgap for a while to let other guys play off the ball like Fox. So we'll see. Any final thoughts about the game tonight?
Yeah, some of those stats that you mentioned were before Castle got hurt. So like I said, after Castle got hurt, he's had 3 games where he's had assists of 3, 9, and 3. Those are the last 3 games without Castle out there. To me, I know you're saying start the game off because they're winless. Portland's winless after being down at the end of the first quarter. To me, it's all about the third quarter. For some reason, the Spurs come out extremely flat and uninspired after halftime. And I want to see if they can correct that in this game.
That's been one of the glaring issues with the Spurs this year is coming out of the half. That and it's the weird thing about it, Jimenez, statistically, in that third quarter, they're only getting outscored in by average about 1 or 2 points. But
it just feels more
it just
than that.
It feels more than that. But nevertheless,
I think the reason why it feels that way is because every game the Spurs have lost that they should have won. The Spurs are 11-5, right? There are 4 games they could have won. right? There's only one game where it was out of hand. It was the first Phoenix game that they lost, right? But pretty much every other game they could have won somehow, some way. And every single game of those 4 losses were all because they struggled in the third quarter. Like that's the common denominator of those 4 losses there. That's why to me it seems like it's worse than what it is.
Absolutely. We'll see what the Spurs can do out in Blazer land today. We'll see what the Spurs are made of. I think it's a late game too. So well, good thing everybody has a day off the next day tomorrow. So we're good.
Yeah,
we're good. Hey, coming up next, let's talk about Jeremy Sohan. Let's put him in the spotlight. He's back from injury, but he hasn't really been the same Jeremy Sohan as we've seen in the years past. Let's talk about that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
Yeah, let's talk about game time. Basketball season is officially here. Nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real. Getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, prices that jump right out before checkout. Hey, it's easy to get frustrated when it's all you want to do is just cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in. The app gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets, fast, easy, and free. You can use the Game Time app to grab seats for your San Antonio Spurs. It'll be simple. You can get the great seats in minutes. You'll love what you see because there are no hidden fees at checkout. You can even look exactly at your view before you even buy the tickets with their in-app seat view feature. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you say big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Mike Jimenez, formerly with San Antonio Sports Star. He's also a financial guy. And in just a few minutes, he's going to give you some information how you can start making money with Jimenez. So stay tuned for that. We're talking about Jeremy Sohan now. And since he's been back from injury, hasn't really cracked the rotation. He's had a couple good games, but those have been far and few between. You would think that with Wemby out and just guys hurt, the injury bug visiting San Antonio, that the more minutes he got, he produced more. But that really hasn't been the case, Jimenez. This is a contract year for him. It is. And if that's the case, then so far, not so good. Not just for the Spurs, but any other team that might have them or him penciled in their target list in the offseason. But Jimenez, when we're talking about Sohan this season, I think the biggest, I want to say excuse, but some slack you have to give him is he came into the season banged up. He got hurt during team Poland practice.
Right.
He got hurt again during, I believe, in training camp. If I remember that correctly. His debut was delayed, because of those injuries. The Spurs started off hot without him. Mm-hmm. So there's a chemistry issue, again, going back to the rotations. It feels like it was a bad start to this season. Injury, team hot start, don't want to disrupt that chemistry, disrupted his rhythm, perhaps. And you look at even last year, I think he only played 54 games last year due to calf and back problems. It feels like at this point where we are as of today, we have a situation where we have a guy who has a reduced role, reduced minutes, and the numbers reflect that. Should we give Sohan a pass?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. If he was a rookie, fine. If he was a second-year player, fine. Third-year player, I guess. This is season 4.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a restricted free agent at the end of this season, which means that he can go sign with whatever team he wants to sign with, and the Spurs can match and keep him if they wanted to. The problem with Sohan is that he just never really developed offensively the way that we had all hoped.
Right.
And Sohan is arguably the most polarizing figure in all of Spurs fandom right now. He's polarizing because there's some people who love his defense, love his tenacity, love the ability for him to be an enforcer, if you will. No one messes with Wemby when he's on the court. So there are positives that he does out there. He harasses people. He tries his hardest defensively. There are positives to Jeremy Sohan. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside is that offensively he has struggled from time to time. He gets the putbacks. He has a little baby hook. His three-point shooting was on fire for the most part when the season started. After the first few games he played, he was at 83%, but now he's cooled off, and now for the season's at 36% three-point shooting, which is still pretty good, but nowhere near where it was earlier in the season.
Right.
The problem that you have with Jeremy Sohan is that he's kind of a throwback player in a modern era, and it may not fit. You know, that's the problem I have with it, because he can finish the break, he can do putbacks, old school stuff, right? YMCA stuff. But the guy has cinder blocks for hands. You throw any pass with zip to him, he ain't gonna come down with it. It's just not gonna happen. And you can't trust the shooting. And when he does knock down shots, it's because he's being dared to shoot by the defense. We saw that against Golden State when he went off and made a few 3-pointers. It was like, hey, look at Jeremy Sohan make 3-pointers. And as the announcers were saying, they're giving him that shot. They're daring him to shoot it.
Yeah.
Offensively, he's just not there.
Hey, let's talk about Drip Drop. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, energy, mood, even my skin. That's why I've been using Drip Drop, the doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half of the sugar of leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. Look, you'll love using Drip Drop as part of your daily routine. It's a packet. You mix it up in the morning before the gym or during the day during that midday slump. Tastes amazing. Your go-to flavor. You'll find out what that is ASAP. It'll be your secret weapon for staying sharp, energized throughout long days. Hydration has become non-negotiable for me. Drip Drops helps you and me feel sharper, calmer, and honestly just better overall. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com, use promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's DripDrop, promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 20% off. Dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard. Keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop.
He just never developed the way that we had all hoped. And defensively, I think he's slightly overrated. He's good. He's a good defensive player. It's just I think people think a lot of Spurs fans think he's a great defensive player. He's not a great defensive player. He's a good one. He's a good one. Nothing wrong being a good defensive player.
You know, you make a lot of valid points, Jimenez, and you really, really do. It just feels that you can't predict injuries, and he had a couple pretty good ones, you know, that kept him out of the lineup for a while. That's going to disrupt any player. You could have been coming into your next season after averaging double figures last year and, you know, nearly double figures rebounding, and you get out lost in the rotation because of your injuries and the way the team is playing. Now, you brought up a good point about the shooting. I think at this point, whether he's a Spur or moving forward with another team, that's just going to be so. And he's never going to be that reliable knockdown shooter. If he hasn't gotten, at minimum, a somewhat of a small mid-range by now.
Right.
Yeah, you know, you can only hope that he gets better, you know, and that's it. But you also have to factor in the play of Harrison Barnes. I mean, this year he is playing great. Offensively and defensively, and that veteran presence and that leadership on the court. There's even some games we've seen this year where Sohan, that is, has played less than 10 minutes. And you look across the board, all his numbers are down. He 11.4 points per game last year, 7.1 this year. 6.5 rebounds last year, 3.5 this year. 2.4 assists last year, 1.8 this year. Last year, he totaled 45 steals. So far this season, 4. Now, again, he's only played about 10-ish games. You know, so do you want to give, okay, maybe I shouldn't say give him slack, Jimenez, but how about just give him a little bit more time this season? So maybe he'll just crack that rotation, play the way we know he can play, and, you know, giving you a little bit of everything. Do you think maybe we should pause a little bit this season before we make a jump and say, nah, he's got to go?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons why his stats are down is because he's playing fewer minutes. You know, he played 25 minutes per game.
Yeah.
last year. He's at 17.5 now. He's just the ball just stops when he's in the game, and I know plus minus is not the most compelling stat of all time, but every once in a while it does tell the truth. And against the Suns, he was the worst minus 17, and you can see the offense just sputtered when he was out there. Part of it was because Mitch Johnson was playing him out of position and having him bring the ball up the court.
Yeah,
He had some turnovers from there because he lost control of the ball one time, and he lost control of his feet, got called for travel. It's just a polarizing thing because I think we all see in Jeremy Sohan the desire to get better. I think we see the fire is there. We see that he's liked by the team, so we want him to succeed. It's just that the more you look at it, 4 years into his career, he's not far along from compared to where he was as a rookie. He has not progressed. And on top of that, there are literally dozens of other forwards out there that can do the exact same production that Jeremy Sohan has done. And the sad thing is that 2022 draft, we had 3 first-rounders, and all 3 would be gone because Malachi Branham's gone, Blake Wesley's gone, and it's very possible Jeremy Sohan will be gone at the end of the season. You mentioned Harrison Barnes playing so well. That takes minutes away from Sohan. But do you know who else takes minutes away from him? Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett, big guy, 7-footer out there, French vanilla connection when Wemby's out there. And then on top of that, you add the fact that Kelly Olynyk's starting to get some run. Kelly Olynyk's a big dude. People have been talking about that they didn't realize how big of a man Kelly Olynyk is out there. He dwarfs players out there, including Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah.
So those minutes are kind of, I don't see him cracking the rotation when the cavalry comes back. When Harper and Castle and Wemby come back.
Yeah.
No, he's not going to sniff the rotation. He's just not. He doesn't have the skill set or talent to do so.
What's frustrating is that when he came back from injury, what is that game against the Lakers, 16 points. I think he shot like 6 for 7 from the field, 23 minutes. But then you look at the win over Atlanta recently, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Okay, he's doing a little bit of everything. It's exactly what you expect out of Sohan. But then you look at what happened in Chicago in November, this past one, 7 points in 21 minutes. Yeah. So, and again, I think at this point, you're just being a broken record if you're trying to talk about his flaws. 3 for 10 shooting versus Atlanta. But then he goes 6 for 7, like we mentioned, against the Lakers. So he's just up and down, up and down, up and down. A couple other points real quick here about Sohan. I think for me, my ultimate feeling on him, it just depends on health. I think you just stay healthy, earn the trust of Mitch Johnson to get out there and do something effective. And I think he has. But I think, I don't know if he'll climb up to 25 plus minutes when everybody's even healthy. You mentioned it right now. Cornette's back. Wemby's back. Barnes is playing out of his mind right now. He's been great. I mean, we're talking about a reduced role, but Jimenez with the reduced role and reduced minutes, you just said it right now, is going to come reduced impact via stats. Even if he were to get healthy, Jimenez, even if he were to just be effective in those limited minutes, again, shouldn't we just give him not a pass, but some slack to show, okay, now Sohan, these are your minutes. Now you're we know what you're going to be in the rotation. This is what you're going to do. Because right now he's all over the place. He's hurt. He comes back. It's hard to crack rotation. Injuries happen. Okay, now you're getting a little bit more minutes. Okay, well, you're not being produced back to the bench. It feels like his role is just all over the map right now.
Well, back in the day, I did say that Lonnie Walker was done dirty by the Spurs back in the day. Yeah, they didn't give him a defined role. And with Jeremy Sohan, that whole point forward experiment that he had was never going to develop into anything good. I mean, that was not. Yeah, that was one of Pop's worst decisions ever as a head coach, thinking that he could turn Sohan into a ball handler. I look at it this way, man. If he gets hurt one more time, misses significant time,
good Lord.
Games, at that point, it's just damaged goods, and you just move on. And that's why it's kind of hard for me to kind of get excited and amped up about Jeremy Sohan towards the latter part of this season, is because I know what's coming. Yeah. You know it's coming. It's gonna be a quad. It's gonna be a hamstring. It's going to be a back issue. It's going to be something that holds him back. And I shouldn't feel that way about somebody who's in their early 20s, for crying out loud. But Sohan, we're 4 years in, man. You kind of are who you are. We say that about Devin Vassell. We say that about Keldon Johnson. We know who they are because they've been around for so long. Sohan's not new to this team. He's year 4, and his successor is already on the court, Carter Bryant, doing the exact same skill set that he has.
Yep.
So I don't see the Spurs using Sohan very much once everybody comes back. I think the next 4, 5, 6 games with Wemby being out, we're going to get that run of 20 minutes per game with Sohan. But the second Wemby steps back onto the court, the second that Harper and Castle come back, he's going to be permanently stapled to the end of the bench.
Yeah. He's going to have, even if you were to carve out, Mitch Johnson would give him about 10, 16 minutes around that range. Those better be the best 10, 16 minutes out of him.
Do something.
Yeah. Again, we're not asking him to be Steph Curry and knock down every three if possible, or, dunk in every chance as Wemby can. But just be positive. And, and I get it. I get why some Spurs fans defend him, that versatility. Sure, maybe he doesn't have a defined position, but as cliche as it may sound, and Mitch Johnson says it, every time we talk about Sohan, he's a basketball player. He can do everything out there. Well, not everything,
right.
Most things he can do out there.
Oh, Spurs fans fell in love with him early, man. We're having a hard time giving him up. That has a lot to do with it.
Do you think? How do you take this as a sign of his future when the Spurs did not re-up him this offseason or early this season?
I was surprised.
I was a little surprised too.
That was big. And what is his going rate right now? Because, if he gets relegated down to just 10, 12 minutes per game,
right,
his number that he gets in the offseason is going to be relatively low.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Spurs can keep him at a low price. Maybe the Spurs can keep him at a Champagne type of price that we got him. But I doubt it, because there's going to be one team that's going to be enamored with him. They're going to think, oh, I can change him. I can make him a better player.
I can change him.
Yeah. Like it's dating. I could change
her. I know. It's like it's dating. Yeah.
I could change her. No, but I look at Sohan, man, and I know people gave me crap because I bagged on Sohan early on. And I'm not going to be trying to take a victory lap on all this and say I told everybody I was right or anything like that. I just didn't see it. And I'm a big believer that if you are a ball handler, you've handled the ball all through your basketball career, from starting in elementary school all the way to high school to college. Can't learn that skill set in the pros. You just can't.
Yeah.
If you're not a shooter, you can't learn that skill set in the pros. You have to be a shooter in college, a shooter in the international ranks, and you improve slightly better when you are in the NBA. You can't go from being a 3 on a scale of 1 through 10 to a 7. It's too big of a jump in the NBA.
We shall see. We shall see, Jimenez. I'm holding off. Well, I'm holding on to some hope that it'll turn around. Again, I do give him a little slack. No, not a little slack, kind of medium slack because of the injury situation. The Spurs were off to a hot start, and they still are playing pretty decently right now. Like even De'Aaron Fox said when he came back from injury, one thing that was in his head was, I don't want to disrupt this chemistry. I don't want to disrupt this. I don't want to disrupt this.
Right.
Maybe that's getting in Sohan's head right now. But nevertheless, I think my report card for him will be probably towards the end of the season. I got to see what he'll do with once the rotations are set and once this team is nearly as close to 100% before I make any decision on him. He is Mike Jimenez. Make sure to follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste, formerly with San Antonio Sports Star, and he's also a financial guy. But before we let him brag about that, if y'all have any thoughts about tonight's game or Jeremy Sohan's play this season and moving forward, let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Let Jimenez know again at MJ Acquired Taste. So I hear that you can make people money, Jimenez. Is that true?
That's what people have said over the years. Yeah. I've been a financial guy for 20 years, so I may talk a lot of noise on Twitter every once in a while, Spurs Twitter especially, but my passion really is in finance. So I've been a financial advisor for 20 years, and I handle people's retirement, their life insurance, or long-term care disability. I've been doing that for a long, long time. You can reach out to me on the socials and get onto my calendar, 210-508-0369, 210-508-0369 if you want to know more about what I do.
There you go. Make sure to follow my next at MJ Acquired Taste. Do that right now. And Jimenez, by the way, again, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
That's right.
To you and yours. Yes, eat a lot of food, get into a food coma, watch a lot of football, all that fun stuff. I see Jimenez gets 2 days of that. I think everybody else gets about 1 day of it. So that's
Wednesday with the today with the wife, Thursday with the with my family in San Antonio. So I'll be in San Antonio. Going to be going to the UTSA football game this weekend.
Nice.
Against Army. That's going to be exciting because it's military city,
Yep.
USA. So going to go try to hang out with Frank Harris over there for UTSA legend.
There you go.
That's
There you
gonna
go.
be fun.
Yeah, Jimenez again. Happy Thanksgiving. Everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kens 5 Plus, have YouTube. You know what to do. What is that? Subscribe ASAP. And thanks for, again, being part of the Locked On Spurs family and the Locked On Sports Podcast Network family, as we are the #1 sports podcast network in the nation. We're taking tomorrow off. It's Thanksgiving, but we'll be back on Friday. We have Rudy Campos on deck. We're going to be talking about that Nuggets game and whatever else we talk about. I think we're also going to talk about Kevin Durant's top 5 player list. I don't know if you saw that, Jimenez.
I saw some of that the other day. Yeah, I saw a Spurs player on there, which is and it wasn't the one I was thinking.
We're gonna dive into that. Yeah, we're definitely gonna dive into that probably Friday just for some fun because I think everybody's pretty much off that day. So
yeah,
whatever. Anyway, but yeah, stay tuned right here on Locked On Spurs, and while you're on YouTube, go check out Locked On NBA. Just search Locked On NBA, hit subscribe, and you're good to go to catch up all things going on across the league. So for Mike Jimenez, I am Jeff Garcia. We're gonna put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.